Good morning, students, staff, faculty, and dignitaries. We are so glad to have you all here to welcome and celebrate our veterans. Before we welcome in our veterans, I'd like to briefly remind you of both the how and the why of this assembly. First, we'll start with the how. We ask you to listen carefully to all of our speakers, and that starts with silencing and putting away your cell phones, including taking out your earbuds. So please take some time to do that right now. Like actually do it. Thank you. Let's also show our community what awesome and respectful students we know you guys can be. And part of that respect includes making everyone who enters our building know that they are welcome to and a part of our Viking community. Now let's move on to the why. This upcoming Monday, we all have a day off of school, and we'll all be enjoying an extended weekend. And as we're enjoying that day, I'd like us to know why. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, in 1918, World War I came to an end. At the time, it was known as the War to End All Wars because we truly thought there would never be another war of that scale. A year later, in 1919, on the anniversary of that day, Armistice Day was celebrated. Then, in 1926, Congress passed an official resolution to make that day recognized. However, after World War II in 1954, President Eisenhower changed the name of the holiday to be Veterans Day, to include all military members who have served our country. The men and women you are about to see have served our country and therefore have served us. So, without further ado, please welcome the men and women who have fought, sacrificed, and selflessly defended our constitutional freedoms in the most trying of conditions. Good morning, veterans, and welcome to the 18th Annual Veterans Day Assembly. You may notice I look a little bit different than the man who's welcomed you for the last 17 years. Scott McCann has retired, and I'm sure wishing us well from his home in Colorado. My name is Laura Lewis, and I'm a member of the Social Studies Department here at Forest Grove High School. And though I'm definitely no Scott McCann, my task remains the same, which is to welcome you and our dignitaries here today. First, let's welcome our dignitaries. Mayor Pete Truax, Superintendent John O'Neill, our building administrators Karen O'Neill, Brian Burke, Colleen Lord, Jennifer Coleman, Doug Thompson, and Doug Johnson, and the CEO and President of the Forest Grove Cornelius Chamber of Commerce, Butch Sullivan. And of course, I welcome you, the veterans. We are humbled by your presence and hope that we can truly honor the sacrifices that you have made. Growing up, I would hear stories from my grandfather, my grandmother, and two of my uncles about their time in the service. And I think at the time, I thought I understood the sacrifices that they had made. It wasn't until recently, though, that I became a mom myself, that the gravity of what they had done really began to become clear to me. The idea that you guys, at any moment, willingly took on jobs and tasks that could take you away from your families, either temporarily or permanently, is something that I am in complete awe of every day. Today and every day, we thank you and hope you find value, comfort, and camaraderie in today's activities. I'd like to now welcome Dan Lumpkin to the stage for the next portion of the program, and again, welcome and thank you for being here.
As we gather here to show our appreciation for our veterans that are here today in our community and throughout the nation and the world, let us also take a moment to think about what it means to serve your country. All of those who have chosen to serve their country in the armed forces have done so for many reasons. And those reasons are as diverse as the men and women who are sitting here today. They serve to create a better life for themselves, their children, and their families. Perhaps to carry on a family legacy, or to protect the freedoms that we all get to enjoy on a daily basis. Or maybe they simply want to be a part of something that is bigger than themselves. Regardless of the reason, the common element here is sacrifice. To sacrifice their own wants and their own desires in favor of something more. This level of commitment to a greater good takes a great amount of character, responsibility, and grit. Throughout the years, there have been many students who have walked the halls here at Forest Grove High School that have possessed these same characteristics. And they have chosen to make a commitment to serve their country. Today we have students bearing the names of those who have walked these halls and gone on to serve in the many branches of the armed forces. At this time, can those students wearing the name tags and representing those students, please stand and be recognized. For some, the sacrifice that is made in service to their country is the ultimate sacrifice. And to honor those that have given their lives in service to their country, we are now going to perform our roll call. But in this instance, the individual whose name will be called will not respond. After the roll call, we will have the playing of taps and a moment of silence to honor the fallen. Hofstede, Gene Hofstede, Colonel Gene Hofstede,
We will now be playing the service song. When you hear your service branch, please stand up. States Coast Guard. United States Air Force.
Good morning. It is my honor to introduce this year's guest speaker, former Captain Kelsey Yoho. She's a close family friend and someone I've looked up to while growing up. One core principle we work to instill here at Forest Grove High School is perseverance. Upon graduating high school as a valedictorian, Mrs. Yoho attended the United States Military Academy, where she earned a Bachelor of Science in Engineering Psychology. While at West Point, Mrs. Yoho suffered a severe back injury while completing fitness exercise, which ultimately required metal titanium plates being placed into her back. While an injury this serious might have discouraged others, Mrs. Yoho persevered, kept her sights on accomplishing her personal and professional goals, and continued her education, while spending 2 months in the hospital working through classes and learning how to walk again. She graduated on time in 2007. She went on to serve 2 tours in Afghanistan and worked in various roles involving intelligence and cybersecurity. She departed the military in 2017 as a pivotal captain, earning multiple awards and decorations, including the Bronze Star with 1 oak leaf cluster. Since then, she has started a small business in Grants Pass, Oregon, with her husband, Troy Yoho. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome former Captain Kelsey Yoho.
They found something that was bigger than themselves, and it was a calling for them and the path that they chose to give back to their community. To the students of Forest Grove, some of you have found your direction, and you already are driven and know exactly what you want to do with your lives. But I would argue probably the vast majority of you have no idea, and you're pondering the purpose of your life and what you're going to do. It's an age-old question, what will I do, what is my purpose? It goes back well before Aristotle's teachings on the purpose of life. But with all these questions, they're inherently flawed because they're selfish in nature. You really find happiness and fulfillment in giving back. Instead, you should be asking yourself, how can I serve and how can I give? And there's many paths to that, finding that in your life. And each one of you will have your own path that you'll figure out. And there's also just as many paths, there's so many different ways to serve. Whether it's medical, humanitarian, teaching, spiritual, volunteering, even political. At your age, I was driven, but I struggled to have purpose. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted high school to slow down because it was meant that I was going to have to make these huge decisions at the end of high school. But I kept, academically and athletically, I kept being driven because I didn't want any doors closed. You don't want to close doors at such a young age. You want to work hard and keep every option open. The minute you start closing doors, you'll get painted into a corner and someone else will make the decision for you, or your environment, or or your lack of options will close in on you. I had a mentor once while I was in the Army said I was struggling with so many decisions looming out in front of me. And he said there's the true sign of success is how many doors you have open to you. And so I worked hard, I excelled, and then 9/11 happened while I was in high school. And it changed me, like it changed a lot of people probably in the population here. And I found my calling and my path, and West Point and eventually the Army fulfilled my desire for a challenge. And it allowed me to give back after 16 years of education that this state and the country has paid for me. These distinguished veterans in front of you, they chose a similar path in their own time and under their own circumstances. And they gave back to this country with blood, sweat, and mostly time away from loved ones. And they gave up part of their youth to serve this country. You're surrounded every day by staff and teachers, and they found a way to give back. They give to the youth of this community, and they find fulfillment from that. So I'll leave you with a few things. As you strive to find direction in your life, remember that you may have 10 careers throughout your lifetime, maybe even more, but you will only find fulfillment in giving back. It doesn't have, and then on the same vein, don't back down from a challenge or let someone talk you out of your dreams or goals. And then finally, don't paint yourself into a corner. Work hard every day. You should be maximizing everything you can to get out of this school. There's so much that this school and the faculty has to offer you, and take advantage of every single opportunity that you can. Keep your options open so that you can have those 10 careers and figure out your life and give back to your community. The last thing I'll ask you is, it's one thing that I'd like you to give back this week. I'll ask you to take a little time and to thank a veteran for their service this week. But especially if there's one in your life, listen to their stories. You may never get a first-hand story account of history like that again. They have a wealth of knowledge, and most of them don't even talk about it because they're so humble. But they have so much to tell you, and you'll never understand it if you don't ask. And finally, thank you, and I wish you every success as you find your path to service. Thank you.
Community here at Forest Grove, we just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your life to come and talk with us today. We want to welcome you to be a member of our Viking family and to make you an honorary Viking for life. So you're always welcome here in the halls of Forest Grove. We got a memento for you to say thank you.
Once again, let's thank former Captain Yoho for sharing her experience with us. And also, I would like to thank our students. Your respect today was awesome. We are so proud that you showed our community what great people you can be. So thank you, students. We also have a list of people to thank very briefly. Just hold your applause till the end if you don't mind, who helped make this assembly possible. A special thanks to the Five Oaks Garden Club for donating the beautiful arrangements you see on stage today. Jamie Dyke and the FFA for all the flowers and boutonnieres. Fry's Action Athletics for the jacket. Van Dyke Appliances for the slideshow television that's up in the social studies hallway. Andrea Loeffler and the culinary students for all the food for our veterans. Ben Crabtree and the National Honor Society, Stuart Schlazer and the Wind Ensemble and Strings, Leslie Nunez and the orchestra, Barry Burdall and Anna Elliott and the choir, Forest Grove Light and Power for the banner, and of course, the Associated Student Body of Forest Grove High School for making this happen. And obviously, I'd be remiss if I didn't once again thank our veterans for your service and your presence here today. Please remain standing, and if you're not standing, please do so, as the colors are retired, followed by the processional and exit by our veterans. Students, once again, thank you so much for making this assembly so wonderful and seamless for our guests today. We really appreciate the behavior and that you lived up to all of the expectations we had of you. Please pay attention to any staff or student or staff or faculty that might be dismissing you today. Walk out carefully and make sure you stay on the carpet if you do go on the floor. You are going to break at that second block.